So what's going on, kids?
How you doing? How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing all
Yeah.
right? It's a nice
There we
Sunday.
go.
It's a nice
It is a nice Sunday. We went on a bike ride.
nice.
How far?
I mean, it was motorcycle stuff. So like we
Oh,
went to
very
Schoolcraft and back. So like maybe a 10, 12 minute or a 12-mile ride.
Yeah, nice.
Just kind of little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super windy and it's one of those too. You're sitting there and you're riding your bike and you feel yourself like you're on a 45 slant because
Oh,
the
yeah.
wind.
Oh,
Oh,
it's 80 degrees out here and sunny.
Nice. It is. It's sunny and 65 here.
Okay.
So like that's solid weather.
61 here in the North Shore of Boston.
Those are all good for me. I'm fine. I'm good in
Steve
that.
would still be all right in all these temperatures.
I'm okay in that. I'm
No.
wearing a hoodie though.
Last night was 40.
Keep going.
Yep.
40?
It hit 40 here, so it was a little chilly.
Yeah, we've had the furnace kick on in the mornings here. So
I was with the boys at the beach and my daughter this morning. After renting Gina a car, we went up there, and we all said, "Now it feels like fall."
Nice.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's really here because it still felt like summer up to last weekend.
Out here,
sure.
out
Yeah.
here, it feels like this is summer. It's stupid. It's done. I can't. I want some fall weather. So
But what's fall in Rancho Santa Margarita?
December.
yeah,
I mean, seriously, because sometimes it can stay up to 80 up until December. And then end of December, maybe January, it gets a little fallish, but it's kind
When you say a little fallish, like what, 60?
72, 72, some overcast. Oh, I know. That's why I live here. I love it, man, because I can,
So when we have to put on a t-shirt instead of a tank top, Tony.
Oh my God. Yeah.
wear-
Yeah.
I'll just go, I'll wear a hoodie. So, yeah, man. Well, boys, we're bringing it back. The Big Bottom Podcast.
Yes. Big
Don't
bottom.
call it a comeback. We've been here for years.
We've been here for years, man. Well, it's it started during lockdown. It was
Yep.
crazy, and we've got 3 seasons, 30 episodes
Right?
already done, and this is going to be our 31st Big Bottom season 4,
Season 4, episode 1.
episode 1. Yeah, and this is kind of what is this intro wrap up intro because we haven't done one since the kind of ending of quarantine all over, right? Was that
Yeah, basically, what was that? May of last year or so?
yeah.
Cinco de Mayo.
Was that it?
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of everything was slowly kind of lifting, and we were still, and we had our buddy Andrew Dow
Yep.
on, which
Yep.
is amazing. It was a great podcast, really, really fun. But yeah, this is kind of get people get people up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about kind of what we've been up to.
Yep.
Try,
We've all had different things going on.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, pretty crazy.
that's true.
Yeah. Someone start.
Yeah.
Well, just mention like we had a big thing, John, please down there for me. John got married.
That's
John got
oh yeah, that's
married.
right. I did. Yeah,
It was
that's
awesome.
right. That's right. Everyone was there last
Super
October,
fun, man.
and the
Las Vegas.
yeah. And for those that didn't see the live stream, the wedding party was Tony Paleo was the best man, and then Steve and Keith Sticks, our buddy, the CEO of Tsunami Cables, as the rest of the wedding party.
Yeah. It was rad. That was awesome. And again,
We had a good hang.
yeah, honored to be part of it, man. So it meant
We
a lot.
threw axes.
We did.
Or in the case of Steve grabbed a spear.
Steve was good with the spear. Yeah, it was his thing.
I was good with the spear. The axe is not so much. So I think my ancestors probably, we killed some buffalo and some cows and deer.
That
with
could be.
spears. I felt good with it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I felt like I could have taken down I don't know, something not too big, but it was rad.
Right.
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, in like 3 weeks, it'll be our 1 year anniversary. So
Wow.
I know, and we're finally getting around to having that reception up here that we said we were going to back in last November
Nice.
We'll chat about that in the post room.
in the green room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green room's a little dusty. We're gonna have to clean that out
Yeah.
a bit since we haven't.
I think there's some food and some drinks left over, donuts.
Don't touch. Yeah,
flan.
don't touch the milk. It's
Don't touch-
probably
yeah.
it's probably bad.
Just dump it.
The donuts might be as hard as a rock.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So how so Tony, let's start with Tony. Kind of starting back up with quarantine and all everything kind
So
of.
I started gigging again myself,
Mhm.
more actively, doing more theater stuff and so forth, which is kind of, and then I'm now starting to do more with a couple of other acts as well. So my Dig by Terry and my Electric Temple. So we're starting to do things, and I've been busy that way. So that's kind of good.
Even towards the end, you were working. You were still,
Yeah, I was getting work again. Yeah.
yeah.
So it comes in waves, and we're evolving what I like to call the post-COVID
Hmm.
how do musicians work and handle themselves now.
Yep.
So
It's a little different.
yeah.
So for Blue Man, did they right away fill the theater, or was it little by little percentage?
Oh, it was they moved to another location, and now it's the old location again, and they moved it, out in Worcester, which is like an hour inland, and they did some work out there. But so it's evaluated, and it's moved on, and it's back to some degree.
Hmm.
What I really like is that some of the rock shows feel like it's 2019 again, which is what I like.
Cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there's a lot more. I mean, the festivals are really starting, and they're going through with them, because I know last year there were some that were scheduled, but then they canceled because of some insurance issues and stuff like that. So I think it looks like this year they're really going through with these bigger festivals, because we know a lot of people that have been actually playing these, so it's
Yep.
nice to see, from Metal Fest to all those kind of shows.
it seems to be that like this summer, when you were outside, people didn't care as much.
Yeah.
Right.
That was like, oh, outside, oh, it's 2019 again.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what it honestly felt like. I'll take that. Indoors,
Mhm.
well, let's see what happens now, in fall of 22.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a show the other night that my own show, Dig did their own show, right? This like little theater, and it wasn't as packed as we would liked it to have been,
Hmm.
but it was still kind of cool. There was still a solid amount of people. The owner was happy, so I'm like,
Cool.
There you go.
yeah, I'll take it. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Ticket sales and all that.
You at the last minute.
Okay.
At the
Oh, that's
last
good.
minute. Yeah, thank God.
Nice, man. How about you, John?
Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of theater stuff because I really sat down and kind of reassessed why I wanted to do it. And Tony and I talked about this during my NAMM thing for Tsunami, is that I took I just really started being like, do I really need to do some of these shows that I've already done once or twice that I really don't want to do, but I just want the paycheck? And it's like, well, do I need that?
Yeah.
And especially now, with Jen at the house and the kids and everything, it's like it's got to be a lot more enticing than just, oh, there's some money so we can leave.
Yeah.
So I've been doing maybe about 1-2 shows a year in terms of theater stuff again, and I can't say I miss it too much. I miss the friends that I played with in the pits for sure, but that's really the big thing. But at the same point, that allows me to be more selective.
Yeah.
So I can sit there and be like, okay, who's playing that show? All right, great. Because there was one that I had an offer to do one like late September, October. And there wasn't really any reason why I wanted it. So I was just like, no, I can't do it.
It's kind of the older you get, it's kind of nice to use the power of no, but it's okay, what's the hang going to be like?
Right.
Cool. that
Right, and I mean,
outweighs, you know.
it's also, especially on stuff like that, it's always that weird thing that if you say no enough times, you're just not going to get the calls anymore. So it's one of those kind of balancing acts of, okay, but I mean, the music directors I want to work with, they know that I'm available
Cool.
and I'm still the one they call first. So
Yeah.
that works there. And that allows me more time to play with the Quirk, which is, the band that I'm in with my wife, Jen, and our friends Beck and Pat. And, we started doing, like I jumped in about April, I think. And, we've been doing at least 1 gig a month around Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually, going outside of the city immediately kind of deal. And so we're playing the GTG Fest in 2 weeks
Nice.
there. And then 2 weeks after that, we're doing a Planned Parenthood thing. So, I mean, we're getting some steady gigs regularly. So, I mean, and the best part of that is I've had to completely revisit how I'm playing. Because, I mean, you guys know me, and for the people that have, watched us on this, I'm a very more kind of like classically trained soloist type of a player.
Yeah.
And, I'm playing in basically an alt rock grunge band. So it's a very different thing. And I've forced myself, specifically too, I put some parameters to make me think about it. One was being like, I'm going to play the whole thing on this with a pick, which, I know how to do. I'm a lot better at it now, I mean, the biggest mind blown part of it, and you would get this, Steve, since you're a classical guy, is when I was working on the pick stuff and working on picking and, upstroke and downstroke, suddenly I made the correlation that, just up and down strokes with a pick is like when you're working on proper bow technique on a classical bass. Yeah. And suddenly when I did that, it's like everything just went like this. And it's like, okay, cool. So I could start doing a lot better things. But I mean, it's, as much as people poo-poo a lot of, you don't know how to play because, it's all downstrokes. So like there's sometimes you need downstrokes, that whole thing. Like there's a lot more power in that than just, doing everything else. And there's spots in a couple of the songs we play that I'm just all down picking because of that.
I have so much respect for pick players and good pick players because I can't do it. I've tried. I mean, maybe I haven't set aside a month or so to just do it. It's hard. It's hard. And when I hear somebody doing it and doing it well, it's like it's hard, man. Takes talent like anything, it takes
Totally right.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely not on the school where, you should play with finger, that's bullshit.
Right.
It's like, come on, if it sounds great and it's for the part, I mean, that's
Yeah.
hard. So
yeah, I mean,
man.
And I've jumped down that rabbit hole now too, of finding out like what's the best pick for me.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
kind of thing. Which I mean, thankfully, that's a lot cheaper proposition than nearly anything else in the music industry.
Yeah, that's pretty.
What are you playing for pick, John?
Right now I'm using the teardrop shape Graphtex. I think it's the medium. It's like the dark, or they're called the warm. It's a dark gray one, and it's like a synthetic bone kind of thing. And I like it. I think the shape I want just a little bit bigger. Or something, but yeah, it's a tiny one. I'm not one of those bass players that likes a big pick. I've found that for me, having a little one, because then you can, you hold it and you just have a little bit out. So I feel like I can get more precise.
Interesting. That's cool.
Blue Man prefers pick players.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had to when it first started.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they wanted it.
Interesting. Did they tell you why?
For the cut.
For the attack.
Okay.
That cut through.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got multiple layers of percussion.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, I'm doing it with fingers and I have been for years. It changes. Blue Man changed the way how I play.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that. I'm so used to having to cut that it's now ingrained in me. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, that's basically been what I've been doing. We're finishing up a couple tracks in the studio. We're going about it in the thing of like probably release one in December, one in March.
Cool.
And if we can actually get enough things, maybe we can get a 45 out. Like that's kind of the big goal. That would be sweet.
Like,
That's
would you
also
want to do an independent, or you do it on yourself, or would you like do Bandcamp, or?
I mean, we'd probably do maybe a Bandcamp kind of thing. Like we have, the Bandcamp account already. But yeah, we might do it through there because I mean that's always easy just to handle all the finance stuff of it.
Mm.
You know, I mean the other one would be to do it through Reward Music, which is a newer one that's come out, which almost is trying to it's trying to be to the indie musician what the iPhone was to regular people. Suddenly all these things that they were doing they could just do in one cohesive unit, and that's what Reward Music is set up. It's got the Bandcamp part where you can have your music, you can download it, you can stream it and stuff. You can sell subscriptions to your music, you can sell physical copies and merch on there. They've actually got a print on
really?
They have a print on demand function because they own a screen printing company. So you can upload the designs, and set the price. It's almost like the old school cafe press deal.
Yeah.
Except it's screen printed, and you can you can print the shirt or sell it, and they'll print it and drop ship it for you.
Well, do you guys have? Does the band have a site where the peoples can see?
Well, we do. Yeah, I mean, we've got. I think it's the Quirk GR at bandcamp.com.
QURQ.
Yeah, QUIRK.
IRK. Q. Yeah, I can't spell right now.
Now, do you do anything with like DistroKid or anything like that?
We'll probably do some stuff with that. Like I've got a bunch of stuff with DistroKid just through all my own solo stuff, but that's really about it with there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those. DistroKid seems almost like the only way that you could actually get any sort of distribution now as an independent artist.
Dig's looking at distro, and the guys are they like it so far. So
Yeah.
we haven't signed or signed anything, or but that's what we're thinking about.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely put links to your guys. So, and then Tony, do you guys have a
So-
website or?
Dig is really weird. No, believe it or not,
Okay,
right?
but
Uh,
Facebook.
Yeah, everything is actually through basis Tony Paleo, right?
There you go.
And this is the thought process, because everybody, and even though a lot of people don't like this, everybody's in so many different projects, and it's
Right.
like, oh, one more band page to match,
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
So we're shedding everything up until we do maybe a band camp or something like distro. Like, let's do something that's going to turn something into money and do it for us and do it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the new artists that I like, which I want to get to, Octopus Diver, is doing everything through Bandcamp and DistroKid, and he's killing it.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah. On that note, Steve, what's up with you? Talk to us, Mr. Arajo.
Hey, gigging wise, just kind of not concentrating too much on that. Just been, still gig a couple of times a month. I have my church gig, but honestly, just kind of trying to learn the business side of the music business. That's what I've really been concentrating on, and yeah, I talk to you guys about it all the time. So I mean, I still play. I think I really enjoy the the business aspect of it is really intriguing to me, and I think that kind of just seeing where and what instruments are selling, and obviously the R&D side of it too is fun. So when and if I can contribute to stuff like that, I like to. So that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of where I see myself kind of going. I still love to play. I played today, this morning, so I play with great players. But I have to be. I'm like with John and even with Tony. It's like the older you get, I think, and I'm very thankful. I'm sure you guys are too, that you can be choosy.
Yeah.
I play with a lot of young players that are hustling, and that you have to hustle. You got to have that hustle at some time. I mean, with anything that you do, you know,
Right.
and right now I'm in a spot where I can kind of say yes and no to things, where if it's a cool hang and my mental bandwidth isn't taken away from other things, then I'll say yes. But you know, I'm pretty, yeah, kind of very discerning about what I what I take. But still, but yeah, I've been able to gig even kind of 2021. There were some times I was playing some corporate gigs. I
Hmm.
kept busy enough, you know. So I was very thankful, like you guys, you know, and um, you know, out here on the West Coast, the church gigs were. I've been a church musician, you know, forever. I know John, Tony. Did you ever do?
Hmm.
I've never done
Okay,
one P&W.
got it. Well, and I know John has,
Yep. Yeah,
and
I did one this morning too.
yeah,
So.
and that's been. I mean, I can't even think of when I wasn't a church musician. So during quarantine and all that stuff, a lot of the churches out here on the West Coast, what became popular, which I think probably throughout, was the band. You know, we would play, you'd have worship, an empty congregation, and it would all be streamed. Everything was streaming, right? And then we had a whole thing where we were outdoors.
Yep.
So little by little, as mandates got lifted, as quarantine got lifted, they started letting us in the church with some. Now it's, you know, now it's wide open. So
Right.
thankfully, you know, that never really slowed down for me. Um, but I know for some people it did. So I was very fortunate, and I was able to. I don't know. I mean, I think it was, you know, I was really able to concentrate on the job and working. You know, so that
Hmm.
yeah, you know, things work out for a reason, even during weird times. And I remember one of the first podcasts we did, we're like, what in the fuck is going on?
Well, I think it was one of the first ones too. Tony and I are like, you know what?
Like,
Come June, this won't even be a thing, and we'll
yeah,
be like
yeah.
thinking it's all over. And that, you know, that was like, what was it? Right as the beginning of everything was starting to
2020?
lock down, and we're just like,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
So it was really kind of crazy. And actually I think it's kind of cool how we have that kind of documented in the things, you know, and then talking to people from all over the world. You know, we talked to Jim
Right.
Hubbard in England, and you know, West Coast, East Coast, wherever, and it was really interesting to get all these different opinions throughout this hopefully once in a lifetime thing. You know, the
No
weirdest,
kidding.
craziest thing. So I think all of us are very you know, we're what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, resourceful. So I think,
Hmm.
you know, we kind of made do with the shit storm that was happening, which
Right.
is
You find other ways to make money, boy,
yeah,
when you have to.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and we had a good support system, not just us three, but with a lot of our friends. Like there was,
Yeah, and I mean that I think that's more important than anything else.
yeah,
Is that you know, and a lot of people always say that thing of like you really, you know, when you're in times of trouble, you really find out who your friends really are.
yeah,
And a lot of times they mean that in a bad way,
yeah,
you know, but I mean it really in that terms of thing, you know, you really did because, you know, there were so many people just and especially I maybe you had this too, Steve. Like I had artists just reaching out saying just wanted to drop a line and say, "Hey, hope you're
yes,
doing okay." And that was it.
yeah. Well, it was crazy. So we're in Fullerton. GNL is in Fullerton, so that's considered Orange County.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many musicians, well, actually it wasn't a ton, but it was like maybe 10 or 12 that would that lived in LA that came down and literally were like, this is another world. Because people were kind of out and about, you know, people were still taking precautions, but it was literally like 100% lockdown to like, okay, this is livable, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, or manageable, or without the ultra paranoia. And but it was, you know, and they're like, man, I cannot believe how lax it is down here and how de-stressful, you know, because it must have been stressful. And we have friends that were like, I talked to people that were in the Bay Area that during this was just, you know, kind of
Yeah.
nightmarish. And New York, like Sabatino, Charlie. I remember
Yeah.
talking to him at the beginning, and you know, anytime he had to go out, literally hazmat suit up, walk out. You know, it was like,
Right.
man, and it was the severity of the things. It was interesting to see regional, like how everything was
Yeah.
different. You know,
Boston
with the-
really wasn't much different than New York, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Michigan was pretty close too, you know, and I think a lot of it, especially, I said it then and I'll say it now too, is no one wants to look back on something like this and say, I wish I did more.
Yeah.
You know, I think it would have been, it's easier for everyone to say, you know what, maybe we did overreact a little bit,
Mhm.
but I can't say, you know, especially when we're talking about mass amounts of lives.
Yeah.
I think that's where everybody's like, you know, overreacting is okay.
Yeah. Better safe
You
than
know?
sorry for sure. And-
Exactly.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard it put that way, John. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting and kind of cool to have that documented. And it
Yeah.
was the impetus for us just starting it. So that's kind of
Right.
like, you know what? What are we going to do? Fuck it. Let's do a podcast. Let's talk.
I mean,
to our
everybody
buddies.
else did. Why not us?
well,
Yeah.
and again, just to reiterate,
Yeah.
this podcast was almost in text format.
That's
Oh.
true. I mean, it already was.
Well, I mean, our one day somebody's going to have to publish our fucking big bottom podcast text thread because it's like a sewing circle. We're like anything from nerding to gossip to, yeah, we're just like pinging each other, which
It's
you
true.
know, which is great because and you guys know too, it's like, yeah, we're musicians and stuff, but we're kind of in the industry. So
Yep.
it is really nice to have this, and again, like people coming together. Like David Rudd from Gator and Levy's came down, and we were in contact, and it was just so great to like meet him, and we had talked within, when it was kind of going down, and then my buddy Brad Zell from QSC, and I'm sure we can all rattle off so many people in this industry that are in these companies that run these companies that everybody's in the same freaking boat, man, and
Right.
we're all there to like, hey, what do you guys do, to try to help each other or be a support system, and
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. I don't know if I went on a tangent. I apologize.
No, we all kind of talked about it, and I can. Everything rings a chord
Mhm.
when you don't have to do it for money anymore for a particular gig.
Yeah.
It really does. Just to echo what you guys are saying, it really made me look at things differently. Do I want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, for a while too, I was in 2 bands, and unfortunately the other one just kind of, I think, folded or fizzled out this summer
Mhm.
because there was just a little, I guess, artistic differences in terms of direction.
I've
I
never
mean,
heard. Wait.
I know, right?
The band?
It's super surprising.
That never happens. It's like
So-
yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, it was a bummer, but
Yeah.
especially nowadays, I'm just like, all right, well, we had a good time when we did. So
Yeah.
still got the quirk, so we can keep going, play some more solo shows at some point, and
Yeah. Release more solo music because you've done
release more
that.
solo music. I
Yeah.
mean, I did do that last spring too. I released Life in a Pandemic, which
Yeah.
turned out really good.
Apropos for the times.
Very apropos. I mean, a lot of it was, a lot of it was therapy of getting through the thing, too.
Doing something, right? Doing something,
Right.
completing something after this chaotic,
Yeah, I mean, because all the pieces were done, I think, in the span of 2 years at that point. Because there was some stuff at the beginning, then it stopped, and then, and what I really tried to do on that too was my buddy Jason Achilles out of LA,
Mhm.
very avant-garde musician, and the crazy thing too is like his day gig is he works at NASA.
So he has a big brain.
He does. He's a super rad dude.
That's awesome. Wow.
We always have, like super awesome random things. But when I recorded some stuff at his studio last time, he and I were talking about effects, and he says, have you ever thought about using effects? And he kind of changed again that thing of changing your mind about the whole thing in terms of it's not just an on-off thing. It's something that you can use to change the sound, change something here, something there. So I spent a lot more time with effects on this, on that latest album too. And that was kind of the big thing. And I mean, that's also laid the foundation for like going into that, you know, a band like the Quirk. There's no real reason to have a clean bass sound.
Yeah.
You know, an alternative in grunge. Why would you? I mean, you could, but so it was me learning
kind
about
of-
gain staging, throwing a distortion pedal in front of a tube preamp so you can get the tube compression and saturation out of that pedal, kind of thing. So
It's almost super calculated for music that sounds like it's not calculated. That you're like fucking.
Oh, exactly.
pumped. You know what I mean? Which is great. You know, like Sid Vicious or somebody didn't give two shits plugged in, and then you listen to that sound like, okay, how did he get that? And that's a hard sound to get. You know, it's
Yeah.
like he couldn't give two shits. Probably had no idea what he was plugging into, and then you listen. Obviously, when they recorded it, whoever was engineering and stuff, but it's like, fuck, it's so raw, but it's so good, you know. And DK, Dead Kennedys, or the Minutemen, you listen to that stuff. It's so raw, but to really capture it, you got to do a little due diligence on that, you know. Which I
Right.
think is great. That's cool. Nice.
Well, yeah, what's like the new pedal like that you use? You said you put it like an overdrive. What were you using on?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using right now. Well, I mean, the main ones for me is like, you know, I've been an Eventide artist for years. You know, I've beta tested their stuff. On a number of the patches that I created on the H9 for some of their algorithms were rolled into the production one
Nice.
versions of stuff. So I have two H9s, you know, and I threw the AMT Electronics A-Bass tube pre in the middle of it. So, and it was done intentionally that way so that the first H9 can handle any of the overdrive, distortion, compression, that kind of stuff. And then the second one can handle all the other things. I mean, unless I want to throw another distortion after it, because why not, you know?
Yeah.
So I used a couple of settings that I built off of, I think the thing was called Chisel, and it was like this grinding, just, yeah, I mean, it is brutal.
I like the name. The
yeah.
name's rad.
Yeah, so I've got more of a fuzzed out tone for it, and then I've got more of like a heavy overdrive. And the heavy overdrive I did intentionally because I've got a another OD pedal I put on after the AMT kind of deal for just like, it's like the chorus thing, you know, if you're playing the OD and then it's like, okay, we're breaking into the chorus, hit that just for a little extra sound, pop it off when you're back into the verse kind of deal.
You guys don't even want to know where my mind went when Chauncey was using something called the Chisel.
Uh-oh.
We already know.
I mean, is it
know
breaking
where you're
this
going.
podcast into like PG-13
I'll
territory? Or?
just
Fuck
say
no.
no more. That's all I'm
Fuck
going to
no.
say.
Are you kidding me? This podcast
Green room.
is open
Green room.
source. Who gives a shit? I don't care. But no, that's rad. So I wanted to bring up something that Tony and I were talking about.
Oh no.
Oh.
So, and John, I don't know if you know this, but Tony, tell him tell the people how it started with your. What did you exclaim? You were going to exclaimed.
Do I have to?
Yeah, because it's funny as hell.
You have to exclaim.
Well, I haven't done it yet.
No, but you're thinking about it, and it only took. So it was a Tuesday. We were talking on a Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. And Tony said, I'm all fours. I'm never buying a 5-string again.
Oh.
And I
That's
thought,
a-
Well, let me explain. I
Yeah.
have a lot of fives,
yes.
right? I have everything that's pretty good. You know, like my stables, my backups, and my main bases, and stuff that I
Backups
have
for
for D-
backups, and we all have it. See, the beauty is we all have that. We're the same.
I mean, Tony Jocko
Dude.
only needed 4 strings. So
and that's what I was looking at. I'm like, okay, I said, just to clarify before Steve makes me look like I went pure 4-stringer. I mean, I'm a 5-string bass player, right? That's my thing. And I've had some great 4s.
Mhm.
And I think I'm only down to what's built right now is just a 2001 Fender Jazz.
Mhm.
Really just straight up, like that's sort of like my pseudo vintage thing. I'm like, oh, I said to Steve, probably just do a 70s something.
Yeah.
Not going to need anything 5 wise, I'm really good. I mean, I have a 5-string jazz being built by my main endorsement, Michael O, right now. So I have an M5V coming that I'll use a lot in the cult thing and so forth. But I said I don't need anything. And then
I don't need any. I'm not going to get any. I'm done. I'm done with 5 strings. I'm not buying another.
so
5.
Steve goes, I don't believe you. And I said, okay, 6 months from now.
No. Because we were choosing. I said,
no.
that's bullshit. That's called total bullshit. Like, come on. We're all the same. We're going to want something like the next day. So I said, all right, 6 months from now,
Like NAMM.
you have 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And within those 6 months, if you buy a 5-string, then we do a flan or tacos, some stupid ass bet, whatever. It took.
That's
2
a
days.
gentlemanly bet.
It took 2
Gentleman's
days.
bet. A gentleman's bet.
2 days.
2
We
days
talked in 2 days.
for Tony to lose that bet.
No,
Okay,
and all of a sudden, Tony has the high hard one for the Sire 5-string J bass.
Well,
And I'm
just
like,
I mean, the Sire really came out swinging from the
Okay.
beginning.
okay, so we can pivot to some new gear because I wholeheartedly agree. I think I told you guys, the Sires are fucking. I want to get one of those PJ5s.
Yeah.
disclaimer: I did not buy anything.
No, but
Nor did I have anything given to me.
you were thinking about it.
So Steve's just taking that as that's the beginning of the downward spiral.
It's and
Steve's
there's-
already picking out where he's buying the flan, Tony.
yeah, that's it. Or tacos for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think
He's
it's
going to
the-
go to Cerritos. He's going to go to Amori Tacos.
I think that there's nothing wrong with it because all of us do it, but I just thought it was awesome that he said.
Okay, I have some reasoning behind it.
Yeah, of course you do. It's called justification, and it's totally fine. We all do it.
So bad. I come on here to get abused. Oh my god.
But it's not. I would do the same thing. I'm like, I'm never buying another. I don't need another bass, and then I want the freaking stupid.
In today's economy,
Yeah,
how expensive everything has gone.
yeah.
I'm just gonna and look, I am a Mike Lowe. That's what I play. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
own other instruments
And you play.
G&L.
Thank you. All right.
All right. G&L and Mike Lowe
Yeah,
for an inexpensive jazz bass, which
dude.
the reasoning being is I believe my guitar player in Dig, we are friends of the podcast, Mr. Filoni, might be getting a full-time studio space to set up his studio somewhere. I'm like,
Nice.
oh, I'll leave a 5 over there, maybe. Just so I can go and pick up and play and do whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not one
To
of the
leave-
backup. It's not one of
Right.
the backup bases of the main of the backup of the second.
Well, it's when he'll need a backup for the leave over.
yeah, it's the backup
know.
for the stayover base.
He'll
Just
do
in
that,
case.
and then
Oh,
he'll
and
need a
it's-
4-string version of the backup of the stayover bass.
And then it's going to be the badass Sire, which the Sires. I mean, I think they're really. Tony's just like, they're really good. And what they're like $500, $600 for.
So
the
for
great
$500, this is I can't believe it. And I'm not here to do a promotion for Sire.
No.
Sire is not paying any of us, right?
No.
Just so you
No.
know.
Yep.
None of us are a Sire artist, right?
But if they want to
we are-
sponsor the podcast, we can talk.
we
can
will
totally talk.
listen.
We
Yeah.
can do a giveaway, whatever they want to do.
I'll just mention it right now.
Yeah.
So Sire has the V5, which is roasted and alder with some solid hardware on it, great neck profile. So for $500 for a
It's-
force,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
mean,
that
that-
you can't beat that.
That 5-string PJ, I think, is around 700, 800. And it blew me away. I was like, this is really good from top to bottom. I mean, I
Yep.
wouldn't change anything out. They're fantastic. They're really good instruments. And I think you should buy that Jazz. Tony.
well, it's passive, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you should buy it.
your face, Steve.
Because it only took 2 days for him to buckle.
Steve's just
buckle.
sitting there waiting for his tacos at this point. He's like, you know what? The way this is going, I'm going to have those tacos for dinner.
But the beauty of it is any of us would fall into this trap and we would all fail because
Maybe we do the same thing.
I do the same. I would do the same. I'm doing the same thing. Like I need another bass. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't need another bass, but I look at pedals all the time right now.
yeah, we're always doing it. Like I'm done with pedals, and you're gonna buy it. So,
Actually, in reality, doesn't John have more bases than you and I combined?
I think
Steve?
so, probably. Yeah.
Not at this point. I sold enough
No?
that I'm down to 15.
There you go.
Okay, so
I'm around there, 15.
I'm around
ish.
there now.
Yeah.
We're not complete hoarders.
Yeah, no, a lot of it stuff, was a lot of stuff was given to me, and I did, especially for work things,
Yeah.
would be given to do stuff there. Then they're just like, you know what, keep it kind of stuff. And so I just had a ton, and none of them were getting played. And I mean, it really is one of those. As much as yes, we are collectors to a point, I'm not a collector in that sense of just having all these things to have it, to look at and say it's nice. I mean, I'm very utilitarian on the things that I do have of like, okay, what purpose does this serve?
Well, at some point too, you can look at it and go, okay, I've got, let's take $1,000. Like, do I want to just sit in there with into something that I'm not really playing, or do I turn it into something that I want to play, or I don't know, mortgage, flooring, you know what I mean? Turn it into something else. So
I also think if you've got a main brand you're working with, it's good to have something else, maybe an import, something that's not going to that's going to inspire you to play differently, inspire you to like write differently before anything of that nature.
You bring up a really big point, Tony, that we should talk about in a future one, about the fact that different bases do force you to think differently and play differently.
Yeah.
So when I play a short scale, that's a good point, John. When I play a short scale, when I play I don't have one. The Acinix, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
The cat base. I call it the cat base.
Oh yeah,
absolutely play differently.
Yeah.
I absolutely play differently.
Yeah, I mean, my main shorty's the GNL Fallout.
Fallout, yeah.
And I mean that's what I've been using for the Rock Band. I mean, because it fits that vibe.
So what are you getting? and I'm on the other side, which I cannot get along with short scales. Don't dig them for some reason. I don't know. They just don't.
So I traded.
Oh.
Okay.
What'd you get, Tony? Look at his face. Look at the face of guilt. Look.
That's the face of somebody who's buying Steve tacos.
Oh, it's a sire. You got the sire.
This is
you got
just
the 4. Nice, buddy.
Oh, cool.
Dude, roasted neck, I mean.
Yeah.
They are really good. Are you going to put a John East in it?
No, I'm actually going to leave it passive.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I was thinking about that 5-string version, because if I have a lull, it's going to be active. Look, I love Steve.
What you should try, Tony, is do this.
Uh-oh.
You've seen this.
This
is my JB5.
Oh.
That's got that.
Oh, yeah.
Do that with the sire.
The stacked
Stack volume tone.
Yeah, 62, like a 62 jazz. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played a bass. I'm almost like, just so our viewers and listeners, we've tried between the three of us almost everything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if it's been out there, and I have to say, there's one thing I have not tried. I've never tried. At least I don't remember ever trying one. Like a 60 stacked knob instrument, like a 62 or something like that.
I built one originally from, when SX basses was kind of the rage and talk bass for, hey, here's a cheap bass that you can hot rod.
Yeah.
I got a jazz bass one. It was antique white for, I think, $120.
Yeah. Oh my God.
At the point, the neck and the body were great. I put Seymour Duncan Antiquities in it. A nice heavier bridge, and did a stacked volume tone thing on it, and the thing was a monster.
Wow.
It's kind of interesting with the two tones. Like, I wonder how it would be with like just one of the tones off all the way. You know what I mean? Like maybe the bridge off all the way. But
I've done that too. I've done the stacked on some SB2s, and it's very interesting. It's really cool. Yeah,
it's a very fine tuning kind of thing.
Yeah, the cool thing, Tony, if it's a jazz drop in, they sell harness, literally the plate.
Yeah, like that whole thing. I bought it just like that because I could wire it up myself, but I want to say at the time when I bought that, it was a pre-wired harness was $85.
Yeah, with the
All the
plate and
parts
everything.
itself was probably closer to 100.
That's nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't like this bridge, even though it's got a heavier plate than a bent bridge. It sort of looks like a Fender.
Yeah.
That'll have a shallow run
Is
there.
it strings through the body also?
You can string it through the body, which
Interesting.
I don't even.
Yeah. But
The
no,
people
that's
keep
dude.
from it.
They are really good basses, and this is that the second or third generation now? Because I know
This
they
is
go.
the second gen. This is the V5.
That's a new one. Yeah.
Okay.
The next
good. So speaking of like new gear, obviously the Sire. Have you come across anything that's kind of cool in your world, Tony?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not exciting though.
Oh, what are you talking
Like
about?
I did a flight the other
excited.
day. I went, granted it was local to New York, but I am.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Look how thick this is.
Yeah.
That's
a duel.
That's a dual.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
In the width, that's a dual. Reunion Blues.
They're great. Really
It's
Nice.
good.
not much bigger than a single. It really isn't,
Nice.
and it goes right up in the overhead. Whoop, whoop.
Mhm.
No problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Nice.
that. Gear wise, like John,
Mhm.
I started playing with. I am a dark glass artist, but I kind of like this stuff more in a prog rock scene.
Sure.
From how I play, that sound. It's almost a sophisticated overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
I always think about how do I get, Brian, to quote Brian Beller, he said, Ampeg in a box, right?
Yeah.
How do I get my beautiful sounding rig to sound more vintagey? But see, this is the thing. I don't want to play a vintage amp. I don't want
Right.
I just want that more kind of saturation. I
Yep.
still want the attack and definition of a GK, but more of that kind of deeper set. I started using the cheapest overdrive pedal on the market.
Oh wow.
And it's not really. It's almost as an EQ. It's almost like if I step on it, I'm playing a different amp now. So the distortion I'm using is really that's the bass soul food by Electro Harmonics.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't have it where it's like, like
This
this
subtle.
super subtle, almost like taking off the highs. It caps actually kind of the ultra lows too are gone. So it's almost like Ampeg, but it still has that tight, you know what I mean? If I want to do a quick run, it's there. It's deeper. I shouldn't say deeper. It's more saturated. It's a little softer sounding, so to speak.
It's not as cushiony and like soft. It actually has some
Yeah.
balls to it. Yeah.
Right. So it's the best combination.
Okay.
And so some of the ballads the other night, the first time I ever used it live was the other night, and it sounded, only for a few songs. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. There's my pseudo Ampeg without it being an Ampeg. So
Anything new from GK coming?
they're always developing things, and I don't think this is out of school to say they take a while.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
is fine. That's the way it's supposed to be.
they have all the new heads that the Legacy and the Fusion heads that they're doing in that new format that are really popular. It's been out for a few years, and now they have the Fusion out for a couple of years.
Okay.
They might have the Plex format out in a head, which
Okay.
right. So you'll have modeling. This is the interesting thing is with GK, and I am a GK guy. I don't necessarily want to hear the modeling. I want to hear.
An amp.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to hear your amp.
Yep.
Yeah.
That Legacy, my Legacy 800 is gold. I love that thing. It just, I don't need anything else. Just sounds fat, warm. DI is killer on it. It's the do-all amp, I can't be
Really
happier.
is good. We had these guys actually from Minnesota, so a bit closer to John, not quite Michigan or anything. These guys both over forward, great prog rock band, opened up for the other night, and become friendly with the bassist. And he came to me at the end of the night. He's like, "I now I'm thinking about GK."
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I reset up my rig
Uh-huh.
in a
Yeah.
dressing room for him. It's after midnight, and he's trying it out. He's like, I want to do this now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
How about John? Any new gear? Anything on the
I,
horizon that you've?
I mean, the biggest thing that I did was I got a newer speaker cabinet because, I was using
Yeah.
the Bergantino B amp for a
Mhm.
little bit now. I mean, which came straight out of talking with, Jim and Holly and
Yeah.
Lee
Yeah.
on here. So I use that, and I was using a Schroeder 2x6 for a while, and that's that's my little destroying rig.
It's
But
ridiculous. So
for
good.
yeah, but for the cork, I need something bigger. So I talked to Jorg again at Schroeder, and he built me a 1210 PL.
Wow.
So, and he asked what amp's going with it, what I'm doing it for, and so he put the speakers in there. So the thing will handle, I think, 1100 watts.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
your overbuilt stuff. I love it. It's
Mhm.
overbuilt. It's like it can handle a lot. Yeah.
I'll drop it down the stairs. It'll be fine.
Yeah. That's
You know,
great. Well,
and it
not
only,
just,
this thing
not just
only weighs, I
overbuilt-
think, like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still light.
not just
but-
overbuilt like physically, but overbuilt power wise. Which is
Oh
nice.
yeah,
It can handle.
yeah. There's nothing that's gonna happen
Yeah.
to this thing at all. So, but yeah, now it's getting I mean, before, the 2x6 is a 4 ohm, so I mean, it's still getting that full. I think the Berg's 700 watts.
700 watts at 4. Yeah.
Yeah, so it gets that full thing. But now 700 watts going through a 1210 with a tweeter. Yeah, it's a little different story.
Nice.
You can
Very
tell when
cool.
my mind is going right now, because he does do. That's right. I completely forgot about George doing custom cabinets because
Oh yeah.
that's essentially what he does.
Yorg will do anything. I mean,
He
yeah.
and his cabs are now more traditional voice than that whole mid forward thing that he used to do.
Right, the one
I
that
love
used
the
to be
1212s though. His original 1212s were
the front facing, and then the
Spectacular.
backwards one that was kind of
Was it the-
diagonal.
1212L, I think it was.
well, it became the L, but the originals were just 1212s, man, because the
Yep.
L's were when the neodymium thing, and I never liked those, and I had 2 of them, and I wish those are cabinets I wish I still had.
It's kind of
because-
like the same thing. Like, I wish I would have kept my original Aguilar GS 112 cabinet,
dude.
because that original
I had 2 of
12
those.
cab was
Those-
rad.
Yeah, those GS 112s were killer. But that 1212 of Yorg's, man, the original carpet covered ones out of Hacienda, California, were spectacular. They were just killer, But anyways, yeah, you're new, and he's awesome and making great stuff. Yeah.
I wonder how we would do with a 322 style cabinet.
Oh, he'd do it.
He'd do it.
Like yeah. That cab.
12 and 210s.
Oh, dude, that's easy.
He might have something already.
I
Like,
think
he's
he
got
already
a
does.
bunch of bigger array
Yeah.
things like that.
I know Howard Elgate has like probably 10 of his cabs that he uses.
Mhm.
And he loves them too. Yeah. Yeah, they're really
I can't
good.
believe back when I was younger.
Mhm.
I don't know if Steve, are you doing this too? Those boxes were heavy, the Bergantino 322s.
Oh yeah.
I would get 2 of them.
Yeah, I never
Woo!
did 2. I only did 1. Damn, son.
I mean, I did one for some shows, but it was in a big rock band, and
That's
I would do 2 of them with.
like we were talking to Jim, like that's one of the best cabinets ever. Like one of like that
Right, that we were all begging him for IRs of.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's right.
That
When
would
he
be
was on,
cool.
we all wanted an IR of the 322.
Yeah. It's like,
Um,
come on. But that's cool. How about pedals, or how about strings? Anything new GHS wise?
I mean, we're at the point now we can start pushing stuff through a little bit more. I mean, the
Sure.
big one I'm working on right now is trying to expand the innovation line a little bit. And yeah, the upright stuff. And we're actually working on a set for the Ampeg baby bass.
That's right.
Because there is a decent market for that kind of stuff, and it would be cool to put those alongside the strings I designed for the NS uprights. So we we could have a little like dedicated electric upright division
That's
for
cool.
those kind of things. For that, try to ramp up production more, because I mean, demand is there, demand's solid.
Yeah.
And then
That's awesome.
in the GHS world, working on some small things here and there.
Okay.
Doing a couple of my big thing was just getting a lot of the online store up and running and getting that marketing and everything locked into that.
Yeah.
So
A lot of mailing lists, direct marketing with
mailing list, direct marketing, a lot of user experience stuff of being like, okay, how quickly can I get somebody from the main web page to them clicking add to cart?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. And just, yeah. And then anything else that the boss needs at the time.
Any minutia sitting around, you'll take
Yep.
up the slack. Nice.
Hand it over to me because he knows it gets done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
You know, man, I still like. I thought the Progressos were going to be everything for me, and then when we couldn't get them,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'll try the steels, and now I can't imagine moving away from the steels.
Like I threw the progressives back. I found a set that I had set aside for my Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been for the longest time, I've been using the steels on that.
Yeah.
Instead, I put the progressives back on it, and it was kind of the same thing, Tony. I was like, man, I'm not sure I like this as much as I did with the steels on it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are I love those strings. Those are on almost pretty much every bass that I have. Almost every
Yeah.
one.
The Sire had the XLs, and I used to play them, and they must be the thicker ones,
Hmm.
and they felt so stiff. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, get these off. You know what I mean? I couldn't. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
gross.
String and yeah. That's cool. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what about gear wise for you? You've, you know,
Well, I kind of cabinet wise, I mean, it's been a while, but definitely since we've done the podcast, I sold some bigger cabinets that I had, and because I needed something more modular that could go in the trunk of a car, so I got two of the Gens 112s with the array.
Oh, nice.
I
Yeah.
got two of them,
and you like them.
it's beyond like. I mean, I love them. I still have yet to play both of them. Any gig that I've done,
And those are the ones too that are not an exact cube. Like they've got a little bit of a slant on them, right? So
Well,
if you stack them, it's
so I
got just enough tilt so it hits.
So I have one that's the exact square, and then
Okay.
one that has the tilt. So
Okay.
I can stack it on top, have one kind of hitting whatever, the lower
Mm-hmm.
area, and then I have one that can go to my head. But I usually just use the one with the tilt. I am so happy with that thing.
Sweet.
They're great, and there's no you don't have to mess with it doesn't have a tweeter. It just that with the Legacy for me, it's a no-brainer. I plug in and go. I do a little tweaking depending on the bass that I have, whatever, a little gain, little contour maybe, cutting the highs, putting a little
Right.
It's so good. Like those are my favorite cabs. And I think they still make them. I don't know. They're
I think so.
112.
Yeah, no,
with the
I
array.
think they're still in production.
Yeah. And that's it. That's those are my cabs and the Legacy, and then I don't know, bass wise, you know me and pedals, we don't get along, but one
Right.
of these days I'll get more. But
Steve lives vicariously through us. in
I
that.
do. I love it. I love the geek talk, man. I'll be one day. One day.
So I'm like in the middle. I am pedal guy,
Yeah.
but I don't even compete as much as John. John's got those H9s dialed, you know.
Well, yeah. Doing some R&D for them. That's pretty major.
I got to get more used to because before, like all the Eventide stuff I have, because I've got them hooked up through MIDI. You can have up to I think 128 presets on the thing, and before I'm like, why would I ever need that? Now I'm sitting there be like, well, especially with a MIDI controller, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why
Have it, use it.
exactly
Yeah.
make just a ton of different things, write it down, so then when I'm programming my MIDI pedal, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to use this for this and this.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as far as basses, now that GNL has the bridge, the 19 mil bridge, it's
For
just,
the
we
Series 750.
the Series 750 is what we call it. And so we came out with the L2500, came out the L1000, and then the next progression will be, hopefully the JB next, and then maybe a Music Man-ish type of thing. So now that we have that bridge, it's kind of
The Kiloton 750.
Kiloton 7. So yeah, so there's a few things in the works. Guitar wise, there's always new stuff, but bass wise, I really think that the 19 mil thing, because I have one of the only 3 750s, and I played that this morning. I mean, it's so good. Yeah, it's
So
just one of those.
the
Yeah,
mass of those necks and maybe the bridge, but that extra mass of wood, uh, to to my ear, definitely affects the tone.
Hmm.
yeah, it just sounds good. And on my JB, it's not that big, but yeah, you played that bass a few times, Tony. You really like it. It's good. I think
You know,
John, you played it
I
too.
did.
I did.
And it's
You know,
just one of those that everything came together and it sounds great, it plays great, and
you know what you should do next, Steve.
Mhm.
Walk in tomorrow and say the next model for bass, the L3000.
what's the L3000?
Well, it's exactly what it is. What's the difference between the 1000 and the 2000? Pickups. So the 3000, 3 MFDs.
We'll go Dingwall, and
Well,
we'll offset them.
no, don't be silly. Do
No,
that,
no.
but but almost do a 5-way Strat
Yeah.
selector on it.
There you go. Well, then
So then you get and then have it set up so all 3 pickups can do oh my god when they're all on, and then you'll just like blow speakers everywhere.
you're just blowing everything. The other thing that I'm really trying to work on is the M series basses and that
Uh-huh.
amp are kind of the unsung heroes. And
That's
Right.
the
That's
if
the
you want to if you want a
band.
cheap Ken Smith.
yes, exactly. So if we can get that preamp in a setting where it's kind of a modular thing where we can use it in different models, I think that's going to be
Mhm.
we're talking about that.
I
But
was
just like
using the
any-
M2000
Very
this
user
morning.
friendly. Yeah,
Yeah.
the M preamp is
yeah,
very,
and
very
I have
friendly.
an M and I love it, and I know John plays one, and but it's just like anything, when you said that GK, it takes a while, and R&D and production, and you have to be ready for prime time with stuff, so you can't come out with anything too early. You have to make sure that it works, and that, well, especially that you can reproduce it 100% every time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Because that's you can have a great prototype, but does it come out again 50 down the road? So
Right.
it just takes a little while and takes a little development. That's why a lot of these, a lot of projects take a while. So
Well, I think you brought up too is like they've got to also be able to figure out like you can make one easily, but if it's going to take you a week to
Yeah.
do the whole thing, the other part of that is figuring out okay, how do we get this thing scaled down to we can do this in a day?
yeah. Well, and that goes to, we use CNC, so making sure the CNC program comes out the same every time, which usually is good. But then, you know, so we're making like anything. Like let's just say that you have to make 25 of a thing in a day.
Yep.
And we're riding down the road making 25 of a thing, and this doesn't necessarily have to be guitars, basses, whatever.
Right.
Well, okay, you introduce a new model. Well, that has to fit into that 25 a day equation.
Right.
It can't cannibalize on that because those 25 that are coming out are probably from orders that were already coming in.
Right. You're still set. You still have a demand for those 25.
They'll have a demand. So figuring out where and when to actually put that new thing in that queue so as not to slow it down. So, that's kind of what drives me crazy sometimes. Like, yeah, I just come out with this. It's easy. It's like, no, it's not easy. You're not looking at the big picture. People
Right.
don't look at that. And we, for us, we do CNC, but everything is hand finished.
Right.
So if it's a new model, that means that another 20, 15 people have their hands on this thing that they're going to be making all the time. And we have to make sure that everybody knows, oh, it's this model. It has this, it has this, it has these dims, it has this. Oh, the electronics are different. Okay. So now we got to wire the electronics. Oh, the pickups are different. Okay. So it's a whole thing, So it's a lot easier for a smaller company to deal with that than it is a bigger company that has an assembly line. So
I can speak on the
Right.
small company part.
yeah.
I haven't talked too much about it, but I do have a signature preamp pedal coming out.
Yep.
With Sushi Box.
Hmm.
We have been working on this, and we've made steps in progress for months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Months.
PC
And
boards.
we just got so it might have been now 6-7 months now, maybe 8.
Mhm.
We just got the preamp portion worked out.
Nice.
The main portion worked out. Never mind adding the tube section,
Hmm.
the DI, a cab sim. So there's other aspects that we're still trying to merge to make this work. So it takes a long time. It takes a
Well,
long time.
Yeah, to replicate that 50 times, you got to get the
Yep.
PC boards. You have to have everything right. So it takes a while. So when when you're looking at bigger scale, and even I mean, you're going to make 50 of them, but all those 50 have to work and they have to be the same and they have to work.
We had several iterations of the preamp,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then we're like, okay, no, I mean, we just I don't know how many, maybe 12.
Yeah.
We just got it now.
That's great. Yeah.
Hey, Steve, back to the pedal thing. You are a DI guy.
I'm what?
You are a DI guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, you might want to consider just a small, teeny baby board.
Well, when you get those, I'd love to try it. Oh, there you go. Or
Hold
one
on,
day
hold on.
I want to get the Rupert Neve one day.
So,
Show us.
this is my
This-
baby board. Can I show you
is-
my baby board?
Yeah, is this the prototype for
No, the prototype. I do have a prototype over there, but it's not in the right box.
Okay.
It's in a different box.
Yeah, it's just in a
Um,
generic shell.
It's in a it won't look anything like that because the artwork is designed with that too.
Yeah.
But look how little this is. Woo.
Now, where's your DI? Oh, which
So
one?
that's the finality, right? That's not the Rupert Neve one.
Mm.
But this is like the tuner, compressor,
Yeah,
full filter, tube DI.
it's a tube. That's a tube DI, huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
from Sushi Box, the guy's doing my thing. So
Ah,
it sounds great. It sounds great.
yeah.
And my main board, I have a slightly bigger board. That's what I'll travel with and so forth. That has the Rupert Neve DI on it.
Okay. But
So-
that finale, what do they call it?
Yeah, that's basically the DI portion that we're going to add to my my signature DI, my signature preamp pedal, which
That
will be
finally-
like a regular box.
Is that a 9-volt DI? Is it 9-volt
That's
power?
correct, 9 volt. Yeah,
Tone shaping?
it will.
No, yours. That one that you have in.
Oh,
there.
this is not tone shaping, but gain and level. But you do have that tube saturation.
Okay.
Right.
Want to just?
Wow.
Do you want to just a little bit of that minor saturation, or do you want a lot? We'll do.
What's
We'll
like a,
buzz a little bit if you want to go. If you want that, we'll do it.
what's the street price on those? What are they going for? Like on Reverb or whatever? $100, 120, or a little bit more?
I think a little bit more, but
Okay.
under 2, I think.
That's pretty cool for that.
You would think I should know this. I
No
don't.
worries.
Mm.
Let's shout out to Sushi Box. Yeah. let's
Sushi
just
box.
Yeah.
check those out. Nice. Yeah. Other than that, no, I got nothing else.
Like this is teeny little. You could put like
Yeah.
your Rupert Neve on there, or whatever you want, and a tuner, and don't you? Steve
I
loves
don't-
to laugh at me.
I don't tune. What are you talking about? Comes off the assembly line and should be tuned forever, and that's it. I don't tune.
All right, Carol K.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, really.
Mm.
Yeah. So, well, right on, boys. Well, what else? What else do we wrap up with, or what?
This is good. It's good to be back. We would
Yeah.
tell listeners, hey, we're back.
Yeah.
We're here. We're geeking. We're gonna have guests on. We're gonna
Yes.
be doing some different things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We might have some playthrough stuff, or and some reactionary videos as well. So
Yeah. We're gonna spice it up. We're gonna spice it up.
we're gonna do what we did
There we
before,
go.
but even add a little bit more.
Ooh. Do tell.
Nice.
Do
That's what the
tell.
green room's for, Steve.
I know. That's what.
You
Yeah.
gotta leave them wanting more.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, the chisel.
The
Yeah,
chisel.
the chisel. Dude, everybody wants the chisel.
Everybody go to chisel.com. Wait, don't do
Ooh.
that. Don't.
No, don't do that. Who knows what that is?
All right.
All right. I'm afraid to go there right now.
Yeah.
Chisel.
No, don't do it. Do it on a VPN if you do it. Just go to a private network. Don't do it. Anybody? Yeah. What? In closing, I guess. Yeah, we're stoked to be back.
Stoked to be back. Look for more.
Yeah, I'm Steve Arajo.
I'm John Moody.
Tony Paleo.
We're signing off. Big Bottom.
Signing
Season
off.
4, Episode 1.
Hell yeah! All right,
Boom.
we're going to the green room.
Green room.
Adios.
Let's clean that thing up.
I know.